there are wins, there are close calls, and of course, there are losses. That's the game. That's the essence of hunting. But for one reason or another, there are some seasons when defeat is just too tough to stomach. When you're willing to go the extra mile to make it happen. This late muzzleloader season was one of those seasons. It seems like every time I get too much confidence in a hunting spot, the wheels fall off my entire plan. The December muzzleloader season has become one of my favorite times to chase whitetails on my family's farm in central Minnesota. After experiencing a good luck streak across a couple of consecutive years, I figured it would continue. The late season bed to food pattern is deadly. It's like clockwork. But this season, a stretch of warm weather during my Minnesota muzzleloader hunt completely destroyed daytime deer activity. I hunted 10 days with 20 different setups, and I even tried a couple of good old-fashioned deer drives. Nothing. Maybe I should have hung up my muzzleloader and rested on my laurels of an overall great big game season, but this time I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I packed up and headed across the Missouri River to a familiar haunt in the Nebraska sandhills. So we got here a little bit earlier than anticipated, which means squeeze in an extra half-day hunt, which I'm glad to do. But I gotta say, out of all the times I've hunted here in the sandhills, I've only sat in a blind one time. Normally this is a spot and stalk type of deal. At least that's what I prefer. But you gotta do what the deer are doing, and this creek bottom we're sitting along here, supposedly there's been some pretty good deer traffic going on. It's most likely post-rut. There might be some second rut activity going on, but it's muzzleloader season. It's late. It's mid-December. We are just a week away from Christmas, and sitting in this blind hopefully produces some results. If not with the muzzleloader, the glass, so we can move on something tomorrow. It's about 14 degrees this morning. Everything's covered in frost. I've seen about 15 deer so far. Looks like they're all heading back to bed real early. They're already stacking up over here. I'm just gonna sit here for several hours, and hopefully the deer will just kind of filter in and out.
I was thinking we could get to the center of the pivot, or if the tower's off this way or something, we could get down to the end tire or something. Then you'd kind of be in range here. The only other thing is you could get down here, but the problem is there's a water ditch right down through here, and I don't know if you can cross it. I just don't know if that center of that...
The thing about this country out here that excites me so much every time I come deer hunting is these deer are so remote, and they have such little exposure to human beings that there's really no telling what you could run into at any given time, especially on a remote woodlot like this. I mean, there could just be bucks back in there dying of old age, literally. I mean, this country, muleys and whitetails, there are deer that go through their entire lives and they never see a human being. So, just gonna sit here, wait for the evening to set in, and hopefully these deer are hungry. It's still not that cold out for being late season, but they still gotta eat. They're still on a winter pattern. And hey, it might only be the last hour of light, but I think we're gonna see some deer. You know how you can tell when things are getting serious? It's when you lighten your pack. It's when you throw on some lace-up boots. When you throw some tape over your gun. Because we're about to go spot and stalk here in these sandhills. The deer refused to bring the game to us, but we're bringing the game to them this afternoon. The conditions are just not seasonable for a good old late season muzzleloader kill, but I'm not having it. We're gonna go after these deer and we're gonna find them. We're gonna find where they sleep, and we're gonna make sure that this is the last nap they've ever had.
So muzzleloaders add a little more challenge than a rifle hunt, and that's what's fun about it. It's maybe not as easy. You don't have the distance. You can't shoot 400 or 500 yards. You know, muzzleloader, that's a big bullet. So wind, you got to take that into account because it doesn't take a whole lot of wind to move a muzzleloader bullet. Usually we kind of count on it to be nice and cold, snow, and then it kind of gives us the opportunity to hunt food plots. This year our hunt with Josh was just kind of a challenge because we thought they'd be coming down to the food sources, the cornfields, the rye fields, stuff like that. And we had 50, 60 degree weather, so it was a challenge to find the deer. They were just so spread out through the hills, they had no reason to be down there. And typically, I would say we probably kill some of our bigger deer in the month of December, just because I think they're more patternable and they're easier to find that time of year. But a big buck's always a challenge to hunt no matter what.
Sitting and waiting, glassing and stalking. I was up for anything to end my season with a bang. This wasn't just another hunt or another deer to me. This hunt allowed me to look over one more ridge, go one more mile, and burn one more hour of daylight doing what I love the most. And this deer was a symbol of the rewards a hunter can earn through perseverance and dedication.